Hello and welcome. My name is Zafar Iqbal, and you are watching the Mojo Story. In what is seen as a major development in the Mumbai terror case, the US Supreme Court has denied Tahawwur Rana petition against extradition to India, paving the way for him to face charges related to the 2008 Mumbai terror attack, in which 166 people, including six Americans, were killed by terrorists. Now, Rana, a Canadian national of Pakistani origin, is linked to the Pakistani-American terrorist David Headley, was a key conspirator in the attacks. India seeks to prosecute him for aiding the LET by allowing Headley to use his immigration firm as a front for reconnaissance or recce that he carried. Remember, David Headley visited India multiple times. He did videography and then provided those videos to the LET in Pakistan. Those were the recce's that were carried by David Headley. While Rana has argued that extradition violated double jeopardy, the US government has countered that some of India's charges, such as forgery, were not prosecuted in the US, according to reports. Now, to discuss this, we're joined by Major General Dhruv Katoch. Welcome to Mojo Story, sir. He's the
Thank you.
director of India Foundation, a defense expert, and has a who has been following this case since the beginning. Sir, if I may start by asking that how significant it is. It is extremely significant given the fact that India has been pushing for his extradition for a long time and it's taken years altogether. Now everything is clear so far as his extradition is concerned.
No, I think it is very significant. Not so much that this man is coming back. I think it is significant that the United States is sending him back. That sent a different message altogether.
Right.
For a very long time, these people have been used by countries like the US and certain European
Yeah.
countries as their
Yeah.
strategic assets. Even if you look at this fellow Panoon, the intelligence agencies in the US, they utilize these people for their own purposes.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not to create terrorism, but there are many other things which they use them for. Now, this person was involved in a very heinous attack, and in which a large number of Americans were also killed. I'm surprised actually that it has taken so long, but the fact that he is finally, the Supreme Court of the US has finally given the green signal, I think that is significant. And I'll give you the reason why. It sends a message to terrorists across the world that the US is no longer, regardless of the fact that a person may be an asset of the US, that is not a guarantee that he will be free from prosecution. That is one. Number two, it sends a message across to all the terrorists everywhere that the world is actually getting together now to fight the forces of terror. For India, I think to all the victims of the 2008 those dastardly attacks which took place in three places, I think it will bring a sense of closure. It is important that all these loose odds and ends are tied up, so that the people who suffered at the hands of the terrorists, they can finally, you know, put a closure to this incident, and perhaps sleep more comfortably in the night. Zafar.
Right. You can see on the screen the visuals on that day, the horrific attacks, terrorist attacks in Mumbai. But, sir, as you were saying, that it took such a long time because he went through the process of courts. He went to a lower court, then another court, and then finally it reached the Supreme Court. So, obviously, that litigation, that trial took a lot of time. And as you were saying, that agencies use such people for their own uh, for their own purposes. Remember, David Headley, he was not given a life, he was given a 35-year sentence, not a death sentence. Even that the judge said that he's a terrorist, and for his cooperation and for his future cooperation, the wording in that verdict. So clearly, it is a big development that Tahawwur Rana will be uh, brought to India, and it would help to connect many dots as far as this case is concerned, sir.
No, you see, I think the dots have already been connected. So
Right.
whatever I'm not. I really don't believe that this man is going to give such information now to India, which our intelligence agencies don't have. As it is, he was interrogated in the United States by our agencies, so they have
Right,
access to the information. So
right,
I think it's very important in terms of messaging. That is why I think this is important. That uh, you see, there should be no safe sanctuary for a terrorist anywhere. And this person actually went on the plea of double jeopardy, right? That I've been punished once, so I cannot be punished second time. And I
right.
think the courts have circumvented that by saying that we are not sending you back on these charges. We are sending you back on something else in which the Indian government is charging you, which basically means that the you see, if the US didn't want to send him, they had enough grounds not to send him. So the fact that they
Right.
are sending him also bespeaks of a very good cooperative level, cooperation between the two countries at the diplomatic level, at the security level, and I think mostly at the political level also now. So that signal has also gone out very, very clearly. So I think it is not simply a matter of this person coming back to India and standing trial. It'll give a sense of closure. It gives us a sense of satisfaction. But there are many more things involved. And this also, I'm quite certain, it testifies to the strength of the India-US relationship, which is strong, regardless of whichever party is in power in the US. But I think under the Trump presidency, it will become even stronger now.
Right. And also, what I was trying to ask is not just connecting the dots as far as the case is concerned, but also perhaps it sort of will help to draw a point towards the Pakistani state agencies that India has been saying are involved in this attack and in other terrorist attacks. That is a crucial element in all of this.
You see, what you're saying is right. It'll help us to actually pin it onto Pakistan properly. But the fact is that he's a Canadian citizen. Obviously, he had gone to Pakistan quite a few times, and I don't think Canada can, try to skip the responsibility. It is their citizen who was a terrorist. He may be originally from Pakistan, but ultimately he's theirs now. And the same way, when we're looking at the Khalistani terrorism, which is emanating from Canada, and many Canadians very conveniently put it on to say that, okay, these are the people from India, but you see, they have taken their citizenship. So the accountability is theirs now. In the same manner, I think it is Canada's accountability. But Pakistan, I think another message is going to Pakistan, to the terrorist groups within Pakistan, that listen, if this man can be sent back from the United States, then the people who are heading organizations like the Lashker-e-Taiba, the Hizbul Mujahideen, who are at the moment based in Pakistan, I think there'll be a certain amount of trepidation in them that if pressure is applied to Pakistan, will they send them back? So all these factors I think are going to come into play, but I think it is a body blow to, I mean, not a body blow, it is a blow to the terrorists. I think
Right.
so. One more bullet has been fired against the terrorists, which we have won successfully. Many more such bullets have to be fired, but I think this is a very, very positive development, and all our agencies certainly will be delighted. And I hope it puts an element of caution in all these people who intend to pick up arms against the state, that you don't have any safe sanctuary. Your sanctuaries in India, which you used to have, are out. In Pakistan, they're getting reduced. And across the world, there are going to be challenges. So I think that message is also going across.
Right. The messaging is important in all of this. It may not be so significant for the investigation because investigation is already done, but the messaging is important in all of this. But you raise the point of Gurpatwan Pannu. India is also expressing concerns about people who are in America and who are openly espousing violence and anti-India. You know, they're espousing anti-India sentiments. They're threatening airlines. They're glorifying killers of a former prime minister. So then obviously it applies on that also, some sort of an action against those elements, those Khalistani groups who are openly asking for a division of India.
Actually, I think in the last administration, that is the Biden administration, they took this idea of freedom of speech a bit too far. It was not just related to Panun, it was also related to various Palestinian groups that where they were openly advocating for action to be taken against Israel. And I'm privy to the fact that there were some Indian students there in one of their universities, and they were being questioned as to which side to support. And because all that the student said was, "Listen, they are not part of this." Literally, you see. So I think that in the US, they have carried this idea of freedom of speech actively to whom they wish to support. In, the 7 October attack, it didn't happen. In the case of people that
Right. We seem to be having some problem with with your audio, sir. We seem to be having some problem.
It's not going to be, you don't have a blank check.
Right. We have reactions coming in after this news came in. Let's play some reactions.
Indeed, it's a great success for India because finally the Supreme Court of America has dismissed the review petition of Tahawwur Rana. I say it's a success for India because Tahawwur Rana and David Headley are the close links behind the terror attack of 26 November. By extraditing Tahawwur Rana, India will get also the more information and evidence in respect of the involvement of some of the Pakistani people, including the Pakistan security apparatus. I must say that David Headley has given such revelation and evidence in Mumbai court, also produced the email correspondence showing the links between Lashker-e-Taiba and Pakistan ISI army officers. So I am very optimistic that Tahawwur Rana extradition will give more evidence about the involvement of some of the security apparatus of Pakistan.
So you heard it there, sir. The point is that now there is a new president in America. Do you think that there will be a major shift as far as terrorism is concerned, or America will follow the same route that it's been doing in during Biden administration? Why I'm asking this again, coming back to Pannu and the way that entire thing is being handled in the US and in Canada. Now, here is a visual of a video when Pannu attended the Trump's inauguration ceremony. He made a video there. Now, it was a propaganda video, a provocation video. Now, he put the video on President Trump and then panned it onto himself and then started shouting Khalistan Zindabad. No, this is clear provocation and propaganda. Obviously, at a time when India's foreign minister was in the same venue.
Actually, whether it is the Biden administration, the Democrats, or the Trump administration with the Republicans, one thing I think, at least to your viewers, I would like to, explicitly state, America doesn't worry about terrorism and anything else. America is very concerned about American interests. And President Donald Trump will look after US interests the way he deems fit. So it does not mean that he is going to be hard on terrorism or soft on terrorism. But where it suits him, I think he will, if he feels that India is important enough to him, for him to stop certain people from acting against Indian interests in the United States, then to that extent, I think that action will be taken. I have a feeling that with the present Trump administration, people like Panun, he may have got away this time, but attending the Trump inauguration, etc. But that was a paid event. I think anybody could have come in. But I think increasingly pressure is going to be put on these people. That is the sense I take of it. But that does not mean that America will be subjugating his interest to sort of look after India. They will be looking after American interests, and if they feel that those interests are better preserved by a friendship with India, then I think those people will have a tougher time. Pakistan certainly is in a very bad position today. You see, the leverage which they had in Afghanistan, they've lost it. So they've got no other leverage. And I think China is also getting a bit disinterested in them. So increasingly, Pakistan is finding itself isolated, being ignored by China on one end, by the United States on the other, and on the third party, the Arab world is also not inclined to view Pakistan very favorably. So, to that extent, I think terrorism from that quarter is going to diminish. However, Bangladesh has come up as a new challenge, and that I'm not sure what the Trump administration will do, because basically it was to pursue their interest in the Bay of Bengal that the
Right.
regime change took place.
Yeah.
So whether there will be any change or not, I'm not sure. But if there is another change of government, rest assured, what the Americans want in the Bay of Bengal, the next government will deliver. Otherwise, they will not change this man.
Right. That's a very important point. You raised all the issues related to Pakistan. There is another big issue, that is the internal situation of Pakistan, the political instability and the economic problems that country is faced. That is an added challenge to all of this. But coming back to Pannu, in fact, if we have that video, we can play that video where he was in that venue, and he said that he was a special invitee. Of course, he must be lying, because anybody can buy a place in that function, and that was essentially done to make that video. But he's a designated terrorist, and security agencies or the scanning agencies allowed him, despite him maybe paying for a place, to be there.
No, I think that will remain a matter of concern. I'm quite convinced that Pannu is their asset. So the intelligence agencies are using him for their own purposes, and it also suits the Americans to use the Khalistanis the way the Canadians and the Brits and the Germans and others were using them to as a pressure point against India. So anytime when you can get some pressure point, and this is the pressure point, so they can tell India to listen, help us out here, and we'll be soft on you here. Basically, to not to control your foreign policy, but to align your foreign policy much more in line with what American interests are. Now, you have noticed that India's foreign policy over the last 10 years has actually taken a dramatic shift. We do not worry about what America or Russia or China or anybody else thinks. It is very, very clearly centered on Indian interests. Now, in the Ukraine war, we actually sidelined the United States and Europe. And they felt it was their right that India should actually support them. So they will use instruments like Panun and others to coerce India to follow their line. It won't work, but I think that will be their attempt, which is why I think people like Pannu have still got they still have a shelf life. How long that shelf life is, I'm not sure. But at the moment, that shelf life of terrorist groups of which Pannu is a part of are still maintained.
Yes, and perhaps the Tahawwur Rana and David Coleman Headley also had a shelf life at some point in time. But if we can play that video of Panun. There you saw that man, in fact, shouting these slogans, and the camera panning, and he's making that video. Perhaps he went there just to make that video. But the point is that, there are challenges that are faced when a country is dealing with a different country as far as these elements are concerned. With Tahawwur Rana, it is this man Pannu, or it was Niger, or there are challenges facing prosecuting extradited individuals, getting them extradited, then the legal issues that are involved in it. How can these be mitigated to ensure that there is a swift justice? Because now these characters are known. You can see on the screen Pannu and the Mumbai terror attack, all those people who are involved in that.
No, I don't think that we can actually we can actually mitigate such threats, because every country has got its own self interest, playing around there. And if the Americans have got that interest, they will maintain it. It doesn't really matter whether they're dealing with India, China, Russia, or even their very close ally, the United Kingdom. So
Yeah.
for America, the US interests come first, and the rest of the world will, you have to accept what it is. If we want to maintain our interests and to mitigate it, I think very safe strategy is one, internal unity, the internal political unity, and second, become economically and militarily stronger and stronger and stronger. And once you achieve that stature, then automatically people will be hesitant to play with you, to carry out such activities. So the answer doesn't lie with outside forces. They will do what they have to do. It lies with us. We must become strong. Today, the situation is, if you're looking at the Bangladesh border, I mean, even the Bangladesh guards, they've got the temerity to show eyes to us. Uh, we need to develop that deterrence capability against these nations and tell them, listen, वो पुराना वाला भारत जो है वो खत्म हो चुका है, ये नया भारत है, and we will deal with you. So we should, I'm not saying that you have to bully anybody or something, but I think the time has come when we have to tell them, no more nonsense, please. We've started giving them message, but we need to be stronger.
As you were saying, if we become stronger economically and militarily, you don't need to say anything. That's self-explanatory in many ways. But what happens here on coming back to Tahawwur Rana? Maybe this process will now start and he will be extradited. You said that it gives a sense of closure to all those victims, all those people who were killed and injured on that particular day.
Yeah, it gives that closure. You see, because this chap now will be tried in an Indian court, and in my, Zafar, just off the subject, in my experience in the military, I have found that the most effective way to deal with terrorism is not through the gun; it is through the courts. And if we can actually deliver justice swiftly, the people whom we catch, if we can put them behind bars within 6 months to 8 months, that is a very, very strong deterrent. Death is the easy option for them. A conviction by a legal court is something which has a very mass effect, which has an effect on the masses. And I think that is very important. So here, that messaging also goes that, okay, India, we are a democracy, we are ruled by law, and we have an effective legal system to deal with these cases. So to that extent, that messaging also goes. And I don't know, I'm personally very pleased that, we have built up that relationship with the US, that they've actually consented to give him back. Very rarely does the US do that. Very rarely. And they're doing it this side. So I think it's a very important development.
Yes. And India has been able to solidly put across its case and convince people out there that this man is really involved and he needs to be brought to India. Clearly a significant development. Remember, this attack happened many, many years ago, but nevertheless, this case was pursued upon by India, and finally, because of that, it has reached to the point where this extradition is possible. A few years ago, it was thought that it's just simply impossible, but now it's reached to the point that he might be extradited, and in fact, everything is clear. Now he can be extradited and brought to the court and to face all the charges that are against him. But for now, thanks so much, Major General Dhruv Katoch, for joining us and for sharing your thoughts. And we also thank all our viewers for tuning in and for watching the Mojo Story.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.